Hello, and welcome to Late Night Dylan, the lowest budget podcast of all of the podcasts. It's just all of them. That's the lowest budget. This has been a long time in the making. I am very excited because it allows me to bring back two series that I used to make videos for and kind of put a kibosh. I should use words that I normally use. I put an embargo on those videos. It's Am I the A-Hole and Late Night Dylan. For those of you that might be a little bit newer to watching me, then Late Night Dylan is an old series where I used to find things and then talk about them, which is so different than the rest of my content. But the aesthetic was different, and the budget was way less. That was the big key, all right? I kind of went away from making those kinds of videos. And also, Am I the A-Hole? There was a time when that was all I was making. That was like all of my content. I put everything else aside so I can make those. I had to literally stop myself at one point. I had to be like, okay, this is the last one for a while. I think it was the extravaganza. I was like, I want to focus on other kinds of videos. So I put a stop to it. And then I went back to it like an addict. But this allows me to combine those two. Now you're thinking, Dylan, this is a third channel? Come on. What are you, some sort of company? What are you, a conglomerate, Dylan? No, I swear. No, listen, the idea here isn't like, hey, it's a third channel, which it is. Subscribe. But in the way that Ooga Booga allowed me to make the main channel just movie commentaries, it was a way to kind of like put all the other content in a place. This is a way for me to put Am I the A-Hole in a different place, and then Ooga Booga can still be all the other stuff that's super fun to do. And I'm glad I stopped doing Am I the A-Hole for a while because as much as I enjoy doing those, there's other videos that I've wanted to make and have been able to make. But as you can see, this is a work in progress. The background, if you are watching, listeners, I gotta be mindful. I'm not used to having people like listen to me. I do think that this format works, or Am I the A-Hole works for listening format because you don't need to watch. But I assume as the first episode, you're probably gonna be watching this, and you'll notice in the background, I have the whiteboard. That's from, in the backgrounds of my videos, I used to have two blackboards and then a whiteboard in the middle, like an Oreo. But then when I moved, I hung up the two blackboards and I was like, I don't even need the whiteboard. Why was that even up? And then I put it in a corner and it's been sitting there in that exact location this entire time. And yeah, I got a little plant. Not alive, don't worry, I won't kill it. I have a couple really good ideas too. And when I say I mean me and Joe. Nah, screw him. He gets no credit. This is all me. The idea would be I wanted to bring in your participation into this. And of course, we'll do it as we always did it in the comment section. You guys give your opinions. That's always a good place for you guys to say where I'm wrong, say where I'm right. But I think we're going to open up a phone line. Not for any live calls. I think that's too much pressure for me. But I think a place where you guys can call in and leave a voice message or possibly a voice note. We'll figure out how that works. But you guys can basically say a story from the previous episode and then say anything that I missed, anything that you disagree with, and the hottest post from the previous video will essentially spend a few minutes at the end going over and see if there's any addendums. Addendums. Busting out the big words. All right, we're going to cover this first post. Today's theme is whatever I want, all right? I think each of these episodes is going to have a theme, and I think this episode's theme is whatever I feel like, which doesn't qualify as a theme. It'd be like, hey, you're having a party, what's the party's theme? And you're like, it's party. Like, that's the theme. All right, well, didn't really help me there, but this one was posted from, like, I could only find, like, repostings of this. I think maybe the original poster might have taken it down because it's kind of embarrassing. And we'll talk about it once I read it here. The title is, I watch my wife sleep and think about leaving. Which, I'm going to be honest, from that title alone, the second part of that sentence is better than a lot of things that I was, worried about. Because whenever you start a sentence, I watch my partner sleep, it's like, okay, what's the second part going to be? Because it can get dark. You know what I'm saying? We've been married for 8 years. We have 2 kids. She's a good mom. She's not abusive. She's not cruel. But I'm not in love anymore. I haven't been for years. She fell in love with being a mother, and I became something that keeps the lights on. Every conversation is about appointments, bills, groceries, and the kids. I don't blame her. Life is busy. But I can't remember the last time she asked me how I'm doing. Sometimes I watch her sleep and feel this crushing guilt because she trusts me. She thinks we're okay. She still smiles when I walk in the room. But I feel alone in a house full of people who love me. And some nights I think I'll leave when the kids are older. And some nights I think I'll die like this. I don't want advice. I don't want to fix it. I just want to admit it somewhere. That's the end of the post. Listen, I wanted to start with a little bit more of an upbeat post just to kick this off, right? Man, I read this and I kind of got hit with a wave of sadness that someone like this just puts no effort in. I think there are certain people who enjoy feeling like the martyr, feeling like things are unfixable and the world's weight is on their shoulders and they're just going to endure sadly. And there's like some sort of satisfaction to that. Like their suffering is like a part of a greater cause. This just gave me all sorts of bad vibes because specifically, he doesn't want advice. I don't want to fix it, he says. What are you talking about, man? I can't remember the last time she asked me how I'm doing. Hey, listen, I feel like we haven't connected, you and I, me and my wife. Listen, I'm mocking their conversation that they could have. Hey, wife, how you doing? If I had a wife, that's how I'd address her every single time. How you doing? And then she'd be like, all right, divorce. So I know, like, obviously we're kind of busy. We got a lot going on, but I think we should take some time for us to sit down and talk and kind of reconnect because I feel like we've been a little distant lately. And you know what she would say? She would probably say, yeah, let's do that. Let's have a date night. Let's get a babysitter. Let's you and I go out. And then you could talk about these things. You could fix your problems. But you don't want to fix your problems because you're a tall boy. That's what childish men are. They're tall boys. All right? God, I don't want advice. I don't want to fix it. I can understand to a certain degree. Everything becomes overwhelming and you fall into a routine in a relationship and you lose the magic of it. And I can understand feeling a sense of dread that things aren't as great as you once thought them to be. But relationships are work and you're just checking out. And then you post this publicly so that people could be like, hey man, you're so impressive as the father and the patriarch of your family. I think that's what this person wanted. But they wanted the pats on the back. I think oftentimes women talk about the emotional labor of a relationship and they put in more work than the men. And this is not a good, this guy, he's not going to bat for the guy side of that argument. Like he is, this is the guy that women point to and go, got you there. You know what I mean? And the worst part is like nothing's wrong in the relationship. Like everything apart from him feeling sad is A-okay. And he is in the gutter. Stay there, bitch. All right, this guy pissed me off. All right, next story. Am I the a-hole for adopting a dog after I thought my boyfriend broke up with me? My boyfriend, hold on. Some of those B's didn't have like the pop when you say buh. Some of my B's were like beh, beh. It just didn't feel good. Sometimes when a B hits your lips, I'm going on a crazy person tangent. Sometimes when the B comes, like the letter B comes out of your mouth, it's like, ooh, that was a good B. That was a good B right there. This podcast is going to be #1 in the world, baby. All right, to the story. My boyfriend was going through a tough time. He said he needed a break. He said he was going to press pause on our relationship and go visit his family in Washington. I asked him, how do you pause a relationship? Because I don't understand how that works. He said he needed some time to work on himself and asked me to respect that. After he left, I reached out to him a few times via text, asking him to let me know if he arrived safely and to say hi to his mom for me. I received no response. I tried to call and leave a message asking if he had broken up with me. I came to the conclusion that he ghosted me, and my friends agreed. I was bummed, and my best friend recommended I find something like a new hobby or a new show to watch that wouldn't make me think of my boyfriends. I decided to get a dog. My boyfriend is horribly allergic to pet dander, so I never considered getting a pet. However, since he broke up with me, I decided to get one. He's a senior dog from the shelter that needed rescuing. He's low energy and likes to lay with his head in my lap while I read, work, or watch TV. After 6 weeks away, my boyfriend texted me that he was back and coming over tomorrow, which was yesterday, so we could talk. I was shocked and texted him back asking what he wanted to talk about. He said he was back and ready to unpause our relationship. He said he would talk to me about everything the next day. I texted back asking what relationship. He didn't answer. Yesterday, he showed up and told me he had done a lot of self-examination and was ready to move forward on his life path. He wanted to talk about moving in together. Then he saw my dog and started freaking out. He asked me how I could get a dog when I know how sick he gets. I told him that since he broke up with me, I didn't think it mattered. He said he didn't break up with me. I said he ghosted me. He said he can... Oh, God. Can I pause for a second? The way that this person tells a story, they said this, I said this, they said this, I said this. God. Creative writing class, maybe. This is why I feel like this is a real person. Like, I feel like anyone who wants to flex their writing abilities, they do it. And there's just no flexing right here. This is a fully relaxed post, you know? I told him that since he broke up with me, I didn't think it mattered. He said he didn't break up with me. I said he ghosted me. He said he communicated with me, telling me he was pressing pause and visiting family. I said not answering text is ghosting. We argued in circles, and then he said he had to leave because he was getting an allergic reaction, even though he was standing in the doorway, not inside. I feel like he broke up with me, and it was okay that I got a dog. He said that he never did, and therefore it's a horrible act to disregard to have gotten a dog. Which of us is right? My best friend said I should break up with him because he's a jerk. I don't think I should have to break up with someone that already broke up with me. If I break up with him, I'm basically agreeing with him that he didn't break up with me, and therefore I was an a-hole for getting the dog. Right? As I was reading this post, I got angrier at the person who wrote this. Not just because of the writing style. There were a couple things in here. Oh, let me say this from the jump, because you're gonna notice this a lot going forward. And I think I probably mentioned this in the video series that I did. My first instinct whenever I'm reading a post where it seems like there's one side that's obviously favored, my first instinct is, okay, let's jump to the other side. Let's try to defend the person that's indefensible almost, right? Let's try to defend the person who seems to be largely in the wrong, and let's try to find where their opinion lies or their side of the story lies, and let's kind of reverse engineer. And then after we do that, then we can go back to the person that posted. And I think that way you don't fall into the traps often of like how a person tells a story quite as much. There were little warning signs. So my boyfriend was going through a tough time. He said he needed a break. He said he was going to press pause on our relationship to go visit his family in Washington. She asked, how do you pause a relationship? She doesn't understand how that works. And he says he needs time to work on himself and asked me to respect that. How did that conversation conclude? Like, there has to be some sort of parameters. It's not like he just was dramatic and was like, I'm pressing pause. Don't talk to me anymore. I'm leaving. It's like I'm sure there was some sort of deeper conversation about this. But it feels like, maybe she feels like that he didn't give her clarity on what was going on and how they were going to proceed. But I feel like if someone's like, hey, I want to pause this relationship, I feel like you and I should take a break. There is usually some sort of agreement, boundaries. If there's any possible reconciliation, those are things that are, addressed at that time. But this could be somebody who's younger. They don't have ages here, but I would guess early 20s, maybe. So maybe that they didn't think to, create those boundaries. I guess we don't know. But then at the end, there was another thing that stuck out to me. Oh, the fact that she's just looking not to, like, should I get back together with him? Am I in the wrong? It was posed as, like, if I break up with him, then it means that we are in a relationship. So technically, he's right that we were actually on a break and still dating. And if I don't break up with him, and I just continue to not date him, then I will have been right because we're not in a relationship, so there's nothing to break off. It doesn't matter because either way, you're not in a relationship. Whether you break up with him now or whether you think that he broke up with you weeks ago, so there's nothing to break anymore. This game of semantics pisses me off, actually. I might be on this guy's side. I don't know. This is pissing me off now. Being fully honest here, no, you're not an a-hole. If somebody leaves you in the dark like that, like, if you want to take a break from your relationship, do whatever you need to. You have full autonomy, both as the as the breaker or the breakee to do whatever you want to do. And he needs time away, fine. You think that you're getting broken up with, he's not responding to your text, get a dog. Yeah, totally. You're totally in the right. And if he didn't give you enough clarity on what your relationship is going to look like now that you are on the break, then it is his fault. And he wants to move in. Listen, he wants to move in fresh off of a break. That's actually scary to me. Anytime someone comes back from a break and is like, okay, I'm ready to dive so head first into this, I'd be like, okay, so you bang somebody else, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like oftentimes people want to take a break to explore something and then come back, and it's like, well, technically we weren't together, so I didn't cheat. That's a bad sign. Yeah, I'm not on this person's side anymore. I'm not half joking about being on his side. There's nothing in the story that makes me take his side, frankly. If you want to turn your phone off, I don't know the state of Washington. Do you not get service out there? Never been. I feel like cell towers, they do work in Washington. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. You can't just ghost, especially if it's somebody you care about, especially if it's somebody you want to dive back into a relationship with. However, not talking to that person, like the boyfriend not talking to his braked girlfriend, then I just feel like he was probably talking to somebody else and he didn't want to cross those wires. You know, he wanted to. I think that's just like cheating brain 101. It's not technically cheating because I wasn't talking to you at the time and we were on a break. In the end, though, to sum this up, the poster is just playing a game of semantics. Why are you posting this? Why are you here? Why are you talking to us? Like, it doesn't matter. You're not gonna be with him. That is a sign of youth. Like, you just can't move on from a relationship. Like, you need the correct judgment. You need to be in the right. It's like the relationship's over. Just grab your shit and go. You know, move on to the next thing. But now you're here trying to like fight over the semantics, and you want the public to come to back you by being like, oh no, you're right to get the dog. Oh, this guy's such a loser. I don't know. Just move on. Oh, here's one of the top comments. Which of us is right? Do the semantics actually matter? 6 weeks of no contact, and he just decides to magically show up again, and he thinks you should have unpaused your life just because he said so. Block him and move on. He does not have any right to disappear without communication, reappear as if nothing happened, and expect you to be okay with it. I'm willing to bet good money that if you accept this behavior once, it will become reoccurring for the rest of your relationship life. Nobody has time for that nonsense, not the ASO. I don't think 6 weeks. I actually didn't know it was 6 weeks. That's a that's a long time. And the friend is totally right. Was like, hey, pick up a hobby or like, find a way to distract yourself. If you want to get over a relationship, block them on social media. Don't look at their stuff, because the more you linger on them, the more, I don't know, your brain starts working out optimistic ways that you want things to go. For example, you see a post of them out, you're like, oh, maybe they're posting because they want me to see it. Your brain tries to like spin up theories. Don't do it to yourself. Move on from the relationship. Block them. Don't look at them. Don't think about them. You'll find something else soon enough. Next story. Am I the a-hole for eating ice cream every night just like I always do and not stopping just because my sister-in-law doesn't want my niece to see it? Most nights after dinner, I eat a small ice cream cone. It's literally the little Joy mini cups with a teeny scoop of ice cream. Pause. Let me just take a second. Wait, unpause. Let me keep going. Maybe a big scoop if I'm having a rough day, but that's kind of rare. I don't drink alcohol or smoke weed or do anything, quote, fun. So this is my one fun thing I do for myself. Okay, now pause. Okay. Like if someone was like, yeah, I have a little ice cream every day, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. I mean, as long as you're healthy, you focus on that yourself. That's your problem for yourself. But this whole first paragraph was about how like it's not even that big of a scoop. Sometimes like on a rare days I'll have like a big scoop, but it's really a small scoop. It's like it's not even a big deal. And plus I don't even have other vices, so like it's totally okay if I have these, right? It's like, man, why are you trying to, it's your life. You're an adult, right? Like, you get to choose. I hate when people do that. It kind of shows, like, an insight into their insecurity. It's like, you can just have an ice cream every day. Like, you're an adult. You can do whatever you want. Back to it. My brother and his wife and daughter are staying with me for a few weeks. They'll be gone by June 15th, which, good riddance. It's way past then. I'm happy to have them here. Usually, we'll eat dinner together and go our separate ways for the evening. They watch a lot of TV, and they're usually all in the living room watching. I've been eating my little cone, but my sister-in-law approached me and asked me if I could stop. She said that my niece is starting to ask why she doesn't get to have ice cream, and that obviously she was lied to by my sister-in-law when she told her ice cream is a sometimes food. I said that I wasn't going to stop, but I could wait until she was in bed. I figured that was a good way to compromise, and I do get that she's trying to raise her little girl to have a healthy relationship with food. But waiting until she was in bed didn't work because she came into the kitchen multiple times to ask me for some. My sister-in-law was definitely a little incredulous over it and kept saying, "Really? Do you seriously need to eat ice cream every single day?" Or stuff like that. I said no, but she also doesn't need to drink a glass of wine every day either. She didn't like this and sighed a bunch and has been visibly annoyed with me since then. My brother asked me if I could just stop to avoid the drama, but I said I deserve my little treats. Am I the a-hole? Oh, that's the end of it. Okay, my goodness. I deserve my little treats. Listen, you don't have to you don't have to explain yourself. And this is me going from like the other side because I'm probably on this person's side, OP. But the other side of it, why the wine comment? Why is that necessary? And I guess, actually, you know what? Now that I posed the question, but I think that this person feels insecure about the fact that they indulge in a little ice cream, just a tiny little scoop, maybe a bigger scoop on rough days. But they indulge in the ice cream, and they're insecure about that, that daily habit, that when they are pressed about it, they lash out, being like, "Ha, I have a vice. How about you? Damn glass of wine." She didn't like this when he made that comment and sighed a bunch. I don't know. That's just not like a great descriptor. Like, was it a bunch of sighs in succession? Was it like, you drink a bunch of wine, and she was like, I don't know. What do you mean is a bunch of sighs? What was in between the sighs? Was there a conversation? Like, the sighs are irrelevant, right? She's been visibly annoyed with me since then. Well, you did kind of insult her. Well, first of all, this is this person's house, right? The person posting. Their house, their rules. If you are staying with me, you live under my rule. Okay? That's how I've always treated my guests. That's why they always tend on me hand and foot whenever I have guests, which happens rarely for some reason. I don't know why they've stopped coming. No, but I think that when it's your house, you if you want to have your thing, you want to stay in your routine, it is incumbent upon your guests to kind of move around you, as long as it's nothing extraordinary. Like if you walk around your house naked, and you're like, well, this is my house, I think you can compromise and, put some undies on, tighty whities, at least something. And this person is trying to compromise because they were like, yeah, I'll wait till you guys go to sleep, and for some reason that didn't work because the little girl was, I don't know, little kids are demons when it comes to treats. They're like, you ever see dogs? Like dogs will just kind of wait by your feet as you're eating, and it's like, hey, are you gonna drop me a scrap here and there? No? Maybe? Yeah? No? I'm waiting. I'll be sitting right here. I think that's how kids are sometimes. They're like, give me. And they're just like little greedy gremlins. I also think it's super important for parents to have conversations with their children and be like, yeah, it is a sometimes food. And instead of, you see someone who's breaking the rules, then you could say, well, they're an adults. They can make their choices. You are a child, you stupid little gremlin. Maybe I would use lighter language than that. That might be a little mean, but yeah, I don't know. I think being able to navigate those parenting troubles by not trying to, control another adult, but you have ownership over your child. I couldn't figure the right word, and ownership came to my mind. I've been saying a couple things in here in this post where I've been joking, and you stack them up, and I'm starting to look like a pretty bad guy. I swear they're jokes. You don't own your child, but you are in charge of them. You are responsible for them. But that's your job as a parent to have those difficult conversations. So, talk to your child. Don't talk to the other adults. And especially when the other adult is willing to compromise. Anyways, you're a guest. Act like a guest, yeah? One of the top comments was not the a-hole. I cannot stand parents like this. The world is not going to cater to your child. If they bend every little thing because they don't want to deal with their child asking for stuff, how is your niece going to learn to accept no? Kids need to learn that sometimes people have things that they can't have, especially adults. Keep eating your ice cream, ignore your sister. Okay, another top comment here. I don't know if you'll see this, but if you do, check out Blue Bunny mini cones if they're at your store. Perfect size, have a little filling, dipped in chocolate or white cream, tiny waffle cone, it's got everything. And then OP responds to that. I've had those. Double exclamation point. I used to get the Trader Joe's cones for a long time, but my way was just cheaper in the end. That was the most excitement. I don't think they used an exclamation point anywhere in their original post. This person really likes ice cream. You know what? If you're living a healthy life, like, hey, enjoy your thing. There was an interesting little update, not an update, but in edits. But this person posting came back after a little time and said, this post has just gotten completely out of control with really over-the-top overreactions, and people trying to encourage me to make things worse or escalate and call my sister-in-law an alcoholic or to purposely eat more ice cream in front of my niece. Some of you are just like chomping at the bit to call people names and be sarcastic and nasty to me for no reason. That's not really what I was expecting, and we're not allowed to delete posts, so I'm just going to log out and move on. Listen, if you come to Reddit's gonna Reddit. It was their first ever posts, so it makes sense that maybe... Wait. Oh, wait, hold on. They've been commenting. They have been commenting like crazy. Oh, okay, so one person posted, not the a-hole, if she keeps doubling down on this, I suggest you ban wine from your home. And it only got 17 upvotes. And this person posting, the OP, said, I'm not going to do that. That's a silly overreaction. So that's one of the overreactions that OP was talking about. And that's not, yeah, there's a lot of people who aren't going to provide solutions that are going to be meaningful in any way. Like banning wine, that's just going to agitate the situation. That's not going to make things better. This had -7 downvotes, but it says, it's your home. Why does she get to be an alcoholic, but you can't eat some ice cream? And then OP responded, she's not an alcoholic. So, and then someone under that responded, wasn't you calling out her nightly wine drinking meant to imply that? Because that was pretty petty and a harsh response, so I can understand why commenters didn't think you were below being petty, which is a good point. Anyway, I've said my piece. You let me know what you guys think about that one. I want to get to something that's a little more contentious. Let me see if I got one here that might be a little bit tougher. Ooh, and I got just the thing. Am I the a-hole for not paying for something I ordered and walking out? I, 23 female, have a friend group with 5 women, including me. Their ages range between 21 and 26. Yesterday was my friend Lily, who's 21, their birthday. She just turned 21 and wanted a birthday dinner at a fancy restaurant. Me and 4 other girls were in attendance. All of my friends drink alcohol besides for me. I'm not a drinker, I've never been one, and never will be one. Me and my friends get seated down, and Lily, all happy, suggests me to buy an alcoholic beverage. I refused, and the rest of my friends decided to chime in and tell me to get one. Once again, I refuse. They know I don't drink and how I feel about it, but basically, them begging me to get a drink kept going on for about 5 minutes, even sent the waiter away because I hadn't agreed yet. I'm not good under pressure, especially when multiple people are telling me to do one thing. I eventually said yes, though, because they kept begging. Lily even suggested a drink and said it's for beginners, whatever that means. I told them I didn't want it and that I know I won't like it, and they said I will. The drink came, and as I stated, I didn't like it. One sip and I wanted it gone. They told me to keep trying it, but I refused, and luckily, they just dropped it. Anyway, the bill comes, and I separated the meal that I got from the drink. They all asked me why I did that, as I should be buying the drink. 3 question marks? I said I wasn't buying it, as since I didn't willingly get it. They begged me to get it, knowing I didn't want it. Lily said I could have said no. I did, many times at that. They kept going back and forth with me on it, and eventually I just got up and walked out of the restaurant. I sent the money for my meal to Lily and stated that if she or no one else was going to buy the drink, then they shouldn't have begged me to get it. My husband stated that I wasn't in the wrong and that I should distance myself from them. However, the text messages from all 4 of them haven't stopped. That's the end of the post. That is interesting, right? Now we have a story where there's very much both sides. Now I don't have to argue about a stupid boyfriend who ghosts his girlfriend on a break, and I don't have to try to take his side. Now I can go in on one of the sides, and we can go back and forth a little bit. My initial impression is, you're 23 years old. If you don't want something, don't get it. You did order it. It's kind of your responsibility at that point. Because if you got the drink and you enjoyed it, would you still not have paid for it because they begged you to get it? What if you didn't want to come out? You know, you were like, I got work in the morning, I don't really feel like coming out, whatever. And they're like, no, please come. Would you think that they were going to pay for everything because they asked you really hard to come? Now, if you want to say you're not good under pressure, that's fine. But it's hard to say this. That's a you problem. Like, you have to learn to set the boundaries for others. Like, it's not incumbent upon your friends to try to figure out, no, it is. I take that back. It's not incumbent on your friends to, be responsible for where your boundaries are. It is good upon friends to know that and to adhere to it, so they should not have pressed, right? Being a good friend is understanding, like, if you don't want to do something, I'm not going to force you into it. I do think there is some gray area in this. I think online, there is always like black and white and there's no nuance, but there's always like, oh, come on, let's do something fun. And this is like a normal, friendly interaction where people are like, I don't feel like doing something. Nah, come on, we're gonna go. Like, we're gonna go to the bar. Come on. And you're like, nah, I don't feel like it. I got work. Nah, you gotta come out, And I think those are okay, normal interactions, but it is your responsibility to manage yourself. And if you can't do that, then don't be around people. All right? Is that a little harsh? I feel like maybe there's some disagreement there. But we'll see. We'll see what you guys say on this one. I just think if you are gonna make the order, then your responsibility is to pay for that. And especially if you only have one drink, you can usually send it back at bars. You're like, this isn't what I wanted. I don't like this. Usually, especially if it's 5 people, if you have one drink that has one sip out of it, they'll usually take it back. But I guess that could have been a way to go about this. But also, the fact that you were just like, I'm sick of you guys, getting in my ear, so that you walked away. You did have a boundary, and you enforced it. You're like, okay, I'm sick of being chided about this. I'm just gonna leave. So you can't enforce your boundaries. I'm gonna see what the comments say on this one. First comment, not the a-hole. They are not your friends. Okay, this is Reddit being Reddit, in my opinion. There's a possibility that they are just completely a-holes, but I do think that if it is a birthday party and they're all having drinks, being like, oh, come on, let's have a drink, right? That's not the worst thing in the world. Going on and on and on about it, yeah, that they were kind of a-holes a little bit about it. Like, if someone says no, just accept that. And it should also be stated that the person posting thought the friend group was being pushy, and they stated as such. But maybe the friends didn't feel like they were being pushy. Maybe they thought they were being friendly. They are not your friends, though, is such a Reddit reaction. Nope, they are your mortal enemies. They actually wanted to kill you that night. I don't know if you know that. Those people have zero respect for OP. They want conformity, not personality. It was a comment underneath that. Just... Man, people on Reddit, love them. Another top comment, you ordered it, regardless of the why, you ordered it, making it your responsibility. If you didn't want to order it, you should have stuck to your guns, but when you gave in, it became your responsibility. Next time, just stick to your number. Just stick to your no. Oh, stick to your no. Stick to your no. At 23, you should have a backbone forming already. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Comment under that. You're the only level-headed one here. Peer pressure sucks, and all of those friends suck, but at the end of the day, OP still ordered the drink, unless someone had specifically told her that they were going to pay for it. Only an assumption was made. Again, if you want to be a really great friend, be somebody who's like, oh, you don't want to drink. I understand that about you. Don't press that. I don't want to let the friends off the hook here, as much as I might make them seem like it. It's just the way I divvied up the responsibility over the drink. I think I put it more on the person who ordered it, OP. But I think the friends could do a better job, a much better job of just respecting that and then moving off of it. I think they're in the mood of like, hey, party, 21-year-olds, I can finally drink legally. Yes, let's go. And they wanted to have like a fun night. And in order to have that, like the whole group, to a degree, there needs to be some sort of collective buy-in. And if someone's not drinking, it might, might change the mood a little bit. Probably not enough to force it. In fact, not nearly enough. I think you'd be fine. Even if that person went home. They're like, I'm going to just have my meal and go. It's like, fine, like, that's okay. But I do think 23 years old, like, I don't know. People do need to take responsibility for themselves. And if you don't want the drink, then you have to just continue to say no. Another comment, the problem here is that you walked out at the wrong moment. You should have scrammed when they were relentlessly bullying you to get a drink. Relentlessly bullying you. That is something you could totally say. If you were feeling pressured by everybody to get a drink, you could say like, hey, if you guys are gonna keep pressing about the drink, I'm gonna leave. Like I'm not gonna be drinking today. And if they don't respect that, then you walk out. But as soon as the drink is ordered, then like that person earlier said, it's your responsibility at that point. Also, another small little point here is I can't imagine the drink $10, $15 Is that worth causing a fuss with your entire friend group? Is $10 to $15 worth, I guess, destroying potentially your relationship and causing a bunch of drama? I would pay $15. I would pay for everybody's tab that night to not have to deal with a bunch of friend drama. Because you did walk out and it's somebody's birthday, you're hurting the mood. I don't know, it's just not, is my opinion, all right? I'm gonna read this one. This one's gonna get you going. Am I the a-hole for not helping my broke friend because she got a tattoo? One of my friends has been complaining about money a lot recently. It's gotten to the point where 2 days ago, she said that she was so broke she wasn't able to afford to eat and was skipping whole days worth of eating because she just had no food. I felt sympathy because I've struggled a lot with finances. I still do a little bit, but not as badly as I used to. Since I'm doing okay enough right now, I offered to help her out with food. I do a budgeting plan with my meals and meal prep where I use these compartment containers and I'll make 10 portions of 3 different meals every 2 weeks. Basically, what she's saying here is she has a little bit of a surplus because she doesn't always eat everything that she prepares, but she always makes it every 2 weeks. So sometimes there's a little extra. And since I have extra, I was originally just gonna not meal prep at the start of next week. But instead, I decided to offer to drop my friend off some of the surplus so that she has something to eat. Very friendly gesture. I'm saying that. Sometimes I give little input and I realize if you're just listening to this, you're not going to know. I'm saying that. Dylan's saying that. It's a friendly gesture. Good on you. Back to the story. I was going to drop it off today after work, but right when I was getting off work, I was watching Snapchat stories and saw that she posted one. She went and got a tattoo today as part of a Friday the 13th flash sale thing. I'm familiar with the artist who did the tats because I recognized their flash from their Instagram. I was considering going in for one, but I didn't do it because I don't really have the extra money right now. They're all pre-priced at $180. I don't know why, but it kind of pissed me off because she literally just told me about how she was so broke she couldn't afford to eat, but yet she was able to pay for a tattoo. When I was struggling financially, I definitely didn't get tattoos. I messaged her about it and asked about how she was able to afford a tattoo, and she basically just said, I'm always able to scrounge up cash for new tattoos. I then told her that I'm not bringing her those meals because if she has enough for a new tattoo, she must not be that desperate. Pause. Sometimes I read things and the words just kind of sound weird, and the end of that sentence definitely sounded weird. Not that desperate. Back to the story. She freaked out on me and called me a bitch and said I was being classist and that poor people are allowed to have nice things. Not true. Pause. That's me, Dylan, speaking. Poor people should not have nice. Back to the story, which I do agree with, but I feel like it doesn't apply to the situation. But now I feel like an asshole and my friend is mad at me. Am I the a-hole? Classist. I think that maybe gets my blood boiling. There's a very clear argument. I don't have enough money for food. So your friend's like, hey, let me help you out because I understand your situation. Let me give you some of my food supply. And the friend is like, great. Well, since I'm getting food for them, I can just take my money and spend it on tattoos and fun things. And then the person sees it and it's like, okay, well, here I am helping you out. And now you're almost taking advantage of that. You're not using that $180 to, I guess, improve yourself. It's a fun thing. It's a fun activity, which, it might bring you some joy. But right now, if you're struggling for food, joy isn't on the menu. And your friend is bringing you a very good point, talking about this, where it's like, well, if you have extra money that you can scrounge up, then I'm not going to help you because it seems like you can help yourself. But then the friend switches it and is saying like, oh, you're being classist. Poor people are allowed to have nice things too. Anytime someone bastardizes an argument like that, is that the right word? Maybe? It sounds good. Someone who takes your argument and just like completely takes it to the end extreme. There's something really gross about that because you're not trying to come to an understanding. You're trying to win an argument. I think that maybe that's more of a me thing. Because I think a lot of people do that. They want to be upset. They want the fight and they want to be right. You don't have money, so I stepped in to help by providing you something that you needed, and then you found money anyways, right? So now I helped you and you had the money all along. But you didn't even need that help anyways. You were just taking advantage of me. That's how I feel. And the person is like, oh, so you hate poor people? That's what you're saying? You hate when I have success in my life. That's what you hate. You hate that I had money. It's like, no, okay, well, clearly you're not trying to understand my point of view. That just comes from wisdom. I don't know if you guys noticed, if you're watching this, I am not wearing a nose ring. It's because I am in my 30s. I have this wisdom now. Anytime someone steps up and tries to do you a big favor, recognize that. They're being great. It is frustrating, though. Anytime you try to help somebody who won't help themselves, man, you should be getting a leg up. But instead, you're not getting a leg up. You're just like kicking your feet up. Like, don't use me as a prop to sit back. No, like, use me and my help as a way to propel you forward. I don't know, I just did a sitting metaphor, I guess. I don't know how that works. You tell me. For this final story, I saved the best for last because we're about to get into some stuff. Am I the a-hole for throwing a cup of cold water on my naked husband? My husband has been tested for ADHD, but he doesn't have it. He has the kinds of problems that are associated with ADHD, however. He says writing lists, making a schedule, setting alarms, etc. is physically painful for him, and he'd rather just deal with occasional emergencies rather than being proactive. So, pause immediately. The fact that we have to set up who this man is, fantastic already. And I should say, you so rarely see this, but this person who posted, OP, is asshole poo mode. I don't know if there's like different levels of assholery on the. You think I would, making enough videos, I would know. But I actually don't know the classifications. But the fact that they got the asshole badge is crazy. He often forgets to push the shower diverter valve down. You know, the little rod on the tub faucet that you push down to make water fill the tub and pull it to make the water come out of the shower? For nearly 20 fucking years, I have been asking him to push that down. Since I was literally a teenager, I have been asking him to push that fucking thing down. At least twice a month, I have a very unpleasant wake-up/cold shower because I turn the water on and I get a cold spray from the shower. And every fucking time he's apologetic, and then a week or two later, it happens again. He will do better for a while, and then it slips in again. He is always telling me that he's working on it, and hasn't he been better about it lately? But somehow, he's always working on it. Always improving, but it never fucking stops. Today, I just effing had it. She's cursing a lot. Pause. And I'm gonna start, I think it's important to because I'm gonna talk about it probably, but let's start censoring her. I stepped into the shower, turned it on, and had a very cold and rude awakening. I couldn't effing take it anymore. I grabbed the cup by the sink and filled it about 3 inches with cold water. Pause. Who measures water? Like, hey, I put 3 inches of water in that cup. What? Who measures water by inches? What are you talking about? Back to the story. And walked out to where he was standing naked. He had just taken off his pajamas and was going to take his shower after mine. Without warning, while he was looking down, I held that plastic cup firmly in my hand and grasping it tightly, I jerked that mother effer in a 45-degree angle to get that cold water all over his torso and face. Pause. Who talks about throwing water like this? I held the plastic cup firmly in my hand, grasping it tightly. So you held it firmly and grasped it tightly? Thanks for telling me all those details. A little redundant, don't you think? No? All right. I jerked that mother effer in a 45-degree angle. She must be in STEM. You know what I mean? There's no way. Because, the 3 inches of water, 45-degree angle. I told him that his apologies were worth the paper they were written on. And I was tired of listening to him congratulate himself for getting better. And I had been asking for 20 effing years to stop doing that stuff. Censored. I told him I don't accept his apologies, and the fact that it's an accident does not excuse it. I told him that from now on, every time I'm taking a cold shower, so is he. That I refuse to be a second-class citizen in my own home or for any longer. And if he refuses to make changes to treat me better, I will instead make changes to treat him worse. Because I will not tolerate this any longer. I'm going to continue to throw a cold cup of water on him every time I get a surprise cold shower. I'm tired of effing asking/begging for basic effing respect and not getting it, with the implication that I have to effing put up with this forever. So Reddit, I know I'm probably the a-hole, but am I a justified a-hole? There is more to come from this person posting. I wanted to do the curses because it was important. I think there were probably, if I had to guess, 14. You guys can count them if you want. It was a lot. And I think it just goes to show that this person is incredibly fed up. Now, one thing that wisdom, no nose ring Dylan, one thing he knows. When it doesn't seem like it's about the thing, like it's stupid to get this upset about the lever. The lever is just a side thing. The lever is just like some small issue because you don't want to face the real big issue. This is the death of so many relationships because instead of being like, hey, let's address the big thing, instead people focus on the small things because they seem more manageable and easier to address. Like, hey, fix the lever. But really it's like, hey, you don't pay enough attention to me. You don't do enough for me to make me feel good. Like, there's just like a lack of effort on your part. That could be like the big core issue. But instead, it's like the lever. And she's like, okay, you fix the lever. And he's like, I'm going to try, get better. And it just never gets better. And it's like, he's thinking it's about the lever, but it's not about the lever. And I think she thinks it's about the lever. It's not the lever. They need therapy. So I don't know the whole science of their problem with the lever. I know what she's talking about. Like when you're in a bathtub, you have to pull the lever. Oftentimes it'll go down automatically. When you're done with the shower, it'll release. And if you want the water to come out of the bottom, you just pull the lever up and it fills the tub. But she does answer a few questions here in the original post. Question, why don't I just check myself? Why do I expect him to leave it the way that I want it left? Answer, I don't expect him to leave it the way I want. What I expect is for him to leave things the way he found them. When he walked into the bathroom, it's pushed down. That's how I leave it. So he doesn't get blasted with cold water. But he doesn't leave things the way he found them. Instead, he often leaves the last 10 to 20% of a task for me to clean up for him. So when she goes into the shower, it's basically on shower mode. So she sticks her head in to turn the shower on, and the water comes out from the shower head, and obviously it's going to be cold water because it hasn't warmed up yet. So the answer there is don't stick your fucking head in the shower. Who goes full face into the shower? Why not just reach a hand in? Oh, girl, this is a you problem. I'm sorry. No, it's not about the shower. It's so clearly not, because you could easily solve this. You could shower in separate bathrooms. If this was such a big issue, have him shower in one room, you shower in a different room, and that could solve everything. You could use a different showering system. You could get rid of the tub and do a standing shower only. From what we're going to learn in a second here, they do well financially. So there's solutions here. It's not like they're hamstrung. They could solve this if it was about this, but it's not. It never is. It's never about the shower. I've always said it. There are a number of comments from the original poster, OP, that kind of help flesh out the situation. Some of these are upvoted, some of these are downvoted. I'll explain as I go, but usually when someone is seen as right, they are always upvoted, and if someone's seen as wrong, they're always downvoted. The fact that there's a mix is interesting. Before we actually get to that, I do want to say the fact that she has addressed it. I know it's not about the shower, but the fact that she has addressed it with him so many times and he has not come through, it does show a lack of care and effort. I mean, if you're doing this for years, it's ridiculous. Now, the phrase or saying specifically, if you're going to not treat me as well for not flipping the lever, then I'm going to treat you worse in this house. You sound crazy. Like, that's just an insane thing to say. Also saying you feel like a second-class citizen because sometimes the water comes out of the shower head instead of the tub thing. Shut the fuck up. All right? Oh, my God. You know what? This is going to take a minute to go through because there are several dozen comments where she expands upon things. I'm just going to cover the important ones. I think this one is probably her most downvoted comment, but it was probably, I think, the first one she also commented. She talks about, for instance, we have an expensive electric toothbrush. We each have our own toothbrush head. When I walk out of the bathroom, the toothbrush with no head is left on the charger for him. To brush my teeth, I put on my toothbrush head, use it, then take it off. When he walks in, he often picks up the base, puts on his toothbrush, uses it, and walks away with his toothbrush head on, meaning before I even brush my teeth, I have to take his off and put it away. It's that times 1,000 with everything every day. So they have one electric toothbrush, and they just exchange heads. When it's her turn to brush her teeth, she puts her head on. His turn, he puts his head on. The difference is when she's done, she takes her head off to prepare him for his toothbrush session. This is so stupid. When he's done, he doesn't take his off. So she has to do the extra step of taking his off and then throwing hers on. Which, again, it's a small thing, but like she said, there's so many issues or so many instances of that arising where she puts a little extra thought into making sure he has an easier time next time he does it. Kind of like, I think it's like kind of like toilet seats. Guys often leave the toilet seat up, and girls are like, stop. And we're always like, no. It's so much easier. But anyways, that got 355 downvotes. She goes on to talk about the toothbrush thing, which kind of became more of an issue than the shower thing. Oh, there is another comment. Let me explain this. When she gets in for a shower, why is it on the bath setting if she's going to take a shower? And the reason is because it takes forever to warm up, apparently. If it's on shower setting, she says it takes 7 to 10 minutes to warm up. But when it's on bath setting, or when it comes out of the lower one, it warms up faster. Listen, again, they do really well financially, she says. Could you not have a new water heater installed? Could you not have someone come in and look? Again, that's just something solvable. Okay, and this is her responding to a comment. The original comment that she's responding to says, so just out of interest, if you stop doing these things, what would happen? Would you just use your toothbrush head? And her response is, he didn't brush his teeth or floss when I met him. It was actually a huge argument after about 5 years together, and he started complaining that I was being controlling. To be clear, at this point, I considered it my responsibility to make him brush his teeth. I finally lost my shit and screamed at him and told him this was no longer negotiable, that he should just be ashamed and disgusted with himself, that I didn't want to F someone who felt more like my child than my partner, and I needed him to simply brush his effing teeth like the effing adult he is. That I was doing him a favor by reminding him, and I was no longer doing him that favor. That he needed to put on his big boy pants and stop being effing disgusting. Same with apparently a bar of soap too. He used 1 bar of soap between the kitchen and the bathroom. So she says he would use the same bar of soap, constantly fetching it from the kitchen to the bathroom or the bathroom to the kitchen. He would use shampoo. He would have no conditioner and had terrible dandruff. Oh, God. So the toilet paper was another issue. Like, he wouldn't replace the toilet paper. And the person who commented was questioning, like, if you didn't do anything, what would he do if there was, like, no toilet paper? Would he not wipe his bum? And she said he would. But the last time I was giving him oral, I found toilet paper twice. After that, I stopped and didn't finish him. So, what? We're getting into, that has nothing to do with, like, him being forgetful and whatever. You're just, like, listing gross things about him. This one was upvoted. One of her, I guess, few upvoted comments. She often asks him to, for example, wipe his pee up. I asked him to put the milk away. I asked him to turn the light off. I asked him to put his shoes away from where he left them in the middle of the floor. It helps insofar as it solves the immediate problem, but it doesn't help in that it doesn't affect his habits. He still leaves stuff everywhere all the time. I think that's her core issue, is he's not making the effort to change. There's something clearly bothering her, and he doesn't change his behaviors. He changes or he fixes what she has a problem with in that moment, but he's not proactive in solving from the next argument or the next fight. Someone said, y'all can go to marriage counseling, but it sounds like you are pretty done. And she commented, I think you're right. Oh, here's the comment. You're the asshole for the baby move, which is splashing water, I think. Well, I don't know why you call that a baby move. But good God, I could never be with a man like that. I presume he can hold down a job and is just a nitwit at home. He can hold down a job? Maybe he can't? I don't know what they were trying to say. That's the puzzling thing. He is extremely successful. That is what the OP says. And extremely is in all caps. Extremely successful. I think the way she tells the story, and I think this is just her saying, like, I think I'm done in the relationship. I'm sick of not being thought of. Like, if you're not willing to make these small changes to make my daily home life better, you know, in our shared space, then it feels like you're not putting much thought or effort into me or this relationship. And I'm on her side there, because if you're with somebody like that who just refuses to just do very minimal, basic things to make your life better, and this to her is important. Changing the toothbrush head, not leaving his shoes out, doing the water thing. Like, he could find some sort of solution to even just, like, listening to her and I guess avoiding the problem altogether, or, you know, fixing the shower or hiring someone to fix the shower. Like, these are things that you could solve to make her life better, because it's clearly frustrating her. But he chooses not to. I know she lashed out, but it almost feels like there needs to be a wake-up call for this guy where it's like, you're not putting in the efforts. You're not trying. And I think so often when people get away with things, this happens with kids all the time, but it happens with adults too. When your partner gets upset with you and then forgives you, and there's just like a repeated pattern, eventually the person who is in trouble just realizes that they can get out of trouble. They don't feel as if they need to fix the problem because the problem will fix itself eventually and they'll get out of trouble. But it's just not a good way. You want to be mindful. You want to be thoughtful about your partner. Yeah, she's an a-hole for, I don't know. She comes across really poorly in all the cursing that she did in the post. I think this is just a manifestation of her frustration, and since he won't listen, like, she feels like she wants to vent it to the internet, to us, and I can understand that, but we're not your husband, so, like, you could tell a story without cursing as much, being as angry. You're not a second-class citizen. To be honest, I've always heard that phrase, and I don't know what that means. What is a second-class citizen? I know it's not literal, but I do want to know. A second-class citizen is a person whose rights and opportunities are limited or inferior compared to others in the same society. So your toothbrush head isn't changed. Are your rights limited? Listen, I do think it can be slightly unhealthy, though, to say, I do this for you, so you should absolutely have to do this for me. I changed the toothbrush head, so you should have to change the toothbrush head. If you want that to be an important part of your relationship, that's on you. Pick your battles. How important is it to you, right? And that's another thing. I think if you're going to have this discussion and you're going to talk about it, it's not necessarily about the individual things. It's you're not thinking about me and trying to improve my life being together. You're just doing the bare minimum so that I don't leave. And that doesn't feel good. It doesn't make me feel cared for. It doesn't make me feel seen. And if you want to solve the core issue, you have to address the core issue. You can't be focusing on all the tangential issues. You have to focus on the core of it if you want to solve it. But after 20 years, it sounds like you are just checking out. And man, that sucks. To put all that effort into a relationship and it doesn't work out, I'd be sick. I say single. Sometimes when I think about it, it's like, yeah, you could be single if you're sad about being single. There are people who are like just fresh out of a divorce and they feel like so far behind everybody else. So there's worse. It could always be worse, right? That makes you feel better. People are living worse lives than you. That's nice to think about. Oh, finally, talking about the the toothbrush. That's another issue that could easily be solved with getting another toothbrush. She did post specifically about the toothbrush. It is a very expensive one. It's like one of those high-end electronic toothbrushes. So it saves money by, sharing, just changing out the heads. It's not a terrible idea, but if it's causing issues, is it not better to just like not have that problem, spend a couple $100 and not have that problem, or even just be like, hey, this is my toothbrush. I'm gonna get you a basic 12 pack of toothbrushes for $15, Like, I'm going to get you some of the basic ones and just use these if it's not that important to you. And if it is important to you to use a nice toothbrush, then let's get you in one of those. And then we never have to have that issue. She says, I often do find the easy and obvious solutions, but it's always my problem and responsibility. I want it to be on a team, and it's just me out here by myself. Anyway, thanks for the judgment. All right. That is going to do it for this first ever podcast of Late Night Dylan. I want to see what your thoughts are in the comment section. I want you to tell me where you think I'm wrong. If I have any blind spots, tell me where I'm right. That's probably going to flood the comment section though, so just, pick your moments. I will say, just as a little cap to this first episode, I'm very excited about bringing this back. It's just making Emma the A-hole videos, but in a different corner. The whiteboard. I'll start, changing up what I have in the background. I'm gonna make adjustments. This always excites me as setting off on a new adventure, like making small little changes to improve the product. So this is just gonna get more and more better, more and more improved. And also, I should say, schedule. There is gonna be a brand new video on this channel every single Monday. Every other week. Every single one. Every other time. All right? Now that sounds like a joke, but that is actually the schedule for 8 weeks. I'm going to do the first season, which will be 8 weeks, and this will give us an opportunity to kind of bang out a couple of these and see how it feels, and then take a little break, kind of recuperate, figure out what works, what doesn't, and then we'll continue on from there. And I'm super pumped. So yeah, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you next Monday after the next one. Oh, I don't have a sign up. I don't have a Toodle. Toodles is for, you know, the other channel. Yeah, adios. I don't, oh, no, I'll figure a new one out next time. Bye.